Hello, and welcome back to the living room where we're going to be looking at the new Star Wars game. Okay, new, it's a month old. But as I mentioned in a previous video, I only like to review games that I have finished. And it took me a while. In fact, well, the screen's gone, but over in the corner over there on the main screen, it said I've been playing for 80 hours. Jedi Survivor is the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order from a few years ago. Unlike a lot of games, it picks up kind of where you left off. In the game, it's 5 years later. You know, in a lot of games, when you go back, you have amnesia and you have to relearn. No, you start this out as a full Jedi Knight with all the powers, or almost all the powers that you had at the end of the last game. So like Fallen Order, you're playing as Cal Kestis, this redheaded dude behind me here, but it's a different game. Yes, there's a lot of the same elements, the platforming and the weird maps. By the way, I gotta tell you, my hat goes off to these game designers that came up with these incredibly convoluted maps. There's really only one way to get anywhere, but there is a nice map. So that's where I am right now. Actually, I'm in the basement of that building. And you can usually figure out where you're gonna go by going on the map. When you start the game, you're on Coruscant, a planet you didn't see in the last game. It's a really cool opening sequence with a lot of cutscenes and a lot of stuff going on. You eventually escape from Coruscant, not without casualties, but no spoilers. You discover there's something wrong with your ship, so you got to get it back to the guy who knows how to fix the ship, who is Grease from the first game. So you go to the planet he's on. And that's where this is. Now here's where it gets weird compared to the first game. This planet and another planet you go to later are essentially open world. There's lots of places you can go, and you don't necessarily have to go in any particular order. Oh, although speaking of orders, let me recommend do all the story missions first, because you pick up additional abilities that let you get to places that you can't get to early on. There are so many NPCs. There are so many other characters, side characters. On this planet alone, there's dozens. And you have to talk to every one of them. Now, the good news is, unlike a lot of games, if they have nothing new to say, they'll just say, see you. They'll tell you rumors. And these rumors are the equivalent of the side quests that you get in like other kinds of games. This game is full of side quests. In fact, of the 80 hours I've spent playing, probably 20 hours was the main story. And then the other 60 hours have been doing side quests. When you're at your meditation points, your save points, stances, there are multiple lightsaber stances, like in the first game where you had the single blade and the dual blade, and then I think the double blade. Well, this one you get two more. Oh, another thing they added is perks. So you get additional things, more stamina. There's all sorts of perks you can add. There's 25. They're hard to find. Again, side quests, rumors. When you follow rumors, you will almost always pick up some cool thing at the end after you defeat whatever monster they've sent you to defeat. You'll get a perk or a health increase or stim upgrades. But down here in the corner, you'll see I have 13 stims. You start with 2. You can get to 13. It took me like many, many hours to get to 13 because you have to go around and find them all. And again, some of them you can't find until you've almost completed the story and you have all your powers. Oh, you get some cool powers. You can smash things and lift things and lift things and smash things and slow and it's amazing. You can do training battles where you can just try stuff out. Although there's a better mechanism in the game. They're called force tears. And they're like rips in the force, and they take you to like this interdimensional space where basically you fight battles. And they're timed, so you can go back and do them again and try to improve your time. And those are tons of fun. You got your skill trees. So here's all your survival skills, make the stims give you more health. Then you have your force stuff, confusion. You can confuse enemies, get them to fight on your side. Kind of the Jedi mind tricks. Telekinesis, this is, the pull and push and the slams. Oh, fantastic. But you have to talk to all the characters because they will tell you rumors. Now, by the way, you don't have to go act on the rumors right away that do the side quests, but you can accumulate them. The one I would recommend you do as soon as you hear about it is the Lost Fisherman. Go find the Lost Fisherman, because one of the collectibles are fish, and there are 12 fish. And if you get him early, which you can, because as soon as you get to this planet, I think you'll hear that rumor, you go get him, and then you'll run into him along the story path, and you'll just automatically get a lot of the fish you need, and then you don't have to go hunting for them. The biggest improvement in this game over the previous game is these meditation points are now fast travel points. Well, you don't get that for a while, and of course, like all games, you'll be in situations where it says fast travel not available. Another tip, hit every time you see a meditation point, and they're hard to miss, go kneel down. You don't have to rest, you don't have to do anything, just open it so that you can then fast travel to it later. Because I needed something late in the game, and I discovered I had missed a fast travel point that was right by where I wanted, and so I had to do another one of those. And the platforming stuff can be challenging. There are some things that have very tight tolerances, and so if you're just a little bit off, you fall to your death, and you spawn back to where you start. Not where you started, where you started that jump, or series of jumps, and this is where it gets annoying. Because you'll have to go down cables and bounce back and forth, and then run some walls, and then you fall, and then you go all the way back and have to start all the way over again. Difficulty. I'm a story mode kind of guy. First time through. First time through, I play on the lowest difficulty, which in this game is story mode. That parry timing is so loose, they'll pull back their weapon and they'll wait for you to parry before they swing. Much less incoming damage and enemy aggression. Now, Padawan is easy. You die more in this one than in story mode. It's very hard to die. Now, this is the standard difficulty that most people are going to play on, and you'll notice everything's nice and balanced across the middle. You get a lot of, the parry timings are still loose, but not as loose as they were for me. And your damage is much greater, but of course, the enemies are more aggressive. The other thing, in story mode, while you're fighting someone, the other guys will just stand around and wait for you to finish with that guy before they attack you. Whereas you get into the higher difficulties and they just all come at you at once. And you die a lot. Oh, and when you die, you probably heard people say this is a Souls-like game. It's not. But the thing that is like Dark Souls is that when you die, you get respawned back to the last meditation point. Whoever killed you has your health and experience from your last save. So you have to come back and kill them well, actually, I don't think you have to kill them, but you have to run over the spot where your experience is. It's glowing. Then, of course, for those of you who want challenging combat, you see your parry timing gets cut way back. And then Grandmaster, you have a very short parry timing, and the incoming the big monsters will one hit you in this mode, especially early on. Of course, again, as you go through the game, you'll find more health, you'll find more your stamina bar, you'll get upgrades to everything. But this is a really, really hard mode. You will die a lot. And if you've watched my channel, you know I don't like dying in games. Now that I've finished, I can do New Game Plus, and I can start with my 13 stems and all of my powers and all of my skill points. New Game Plus has some things. It will replace the enemies that were there in your first playthrough with much tougher enemies. I told you want to talk to everybody because they'll give you rumors and they'll give you all your side quests. But also, on these side quests, you will sometimes meet characters that you basically then recruit back to your base here, and they have stories. And so every time you go through, you talk to them. In fact, the game will say, there are new conversations available at Pyloon's Saloon. So you know to go talk to everybody, and they have story arcs. After you beat the game, those character stories continue. And eventually, again, I'm not going to tell you why, but they all want to leave the planet. So they start leaving one by one, and it gets very lonely because you've had all these people, you recruit all these people, and so like every time you go through the bar, there's like 15 people to talk to. There are legendary enemies to kill. There's a bounty hunter thing. If you remember from the first game, the Haxian Brood, well, they're back and they're after Cal, and he has to hunt them down and kill all them, which leads to there's a really cool ending to that whole chain of killing all the bounty hunters. Here's a problem that I had. You can see there's a whole lot of R1 and things, and you have so many buttons. Your sprint button is to push L3, push the joystick, and your interact, which you do constantly, right? That's how you pick things up. Is R3, which means you have to push the right stick. Well, here's where dual edge controller. Well, I got the back buttons set to L3 and R3, so when I want to sprint, I just hit that back button, and I'm sprinting. When I want to interact with things, I just hit the right back button, and I pick it up or do whatever I need to. Oh, and then there's times when, for slow, you have to press them at the same time. It's kind of like rage mode in Ragnarok, God of War. I hate pressing joysticks. Here's my take. Me being a bad gamer, being able to play on story mode, I had a blast. By the way, it still can be frustrating. There's like double jumps and things you have to do that you have to time it just right. And there's a few points where I said, well, there's just no way you can make that jump. And then I'd have to go find a video on YouTube. And yeah, you could, but boy, the timing was split second. So even on story mode, the platforming can be a bit challenging. But still fun. I loved this. And I didn't even get to the story. The whole reason I play on story mode is because I want to see the story. Well, the story is fantastic. Oh, and in some situations, the characters fight with you. Now, they're not a huge help, but you can ask them. Companion combat assist. By the way, there's a trophy for that. So whenever you have if you're going for trophies, if you have a companion fighting with you, you need to use that 10 times per character who fights with you. It was a fantastic game. I had a wonderful time. The story, I kind of cried a little at the end. And I think you might too. If you're at all sensitive. I mean, there's some sad stuff in this game. It was transcendent. It's a fun game. I recommend it highly. I think you should play it. I think you should buy it. It's an improvement in every way on the last game. The story's better. The characters are stronger. It's got more heart. You really start feeling for these characters. You even feel for some of the stupid little side characters, the people giving you side quests. Because again, you form relations. There's one guy you have to talk to, I think, like 15 times, and then he gives you a key to his storeroom where you can get some cool stuff. Oh, and there's vendors. So there's collectibles everywhere. You collect, outfits, lightsaber components, BD components. In the last game, you could only change the colors. In this one, you can change the parts. There, hairstyles, beard styles. And then there are data discs that can trade at one vendor for a bunch of cool stuff, including perks. And then there are priorite shards, which is like ore, which you can trade at another vendor for a lot of things. And on another planet, there are scrolls, Jedi scrolls, that you collect that you can trade for more cosmetic items and stuff. So there's just tons and tons of things. Oh, and the other reason to play through the story and get to the end is one of the things you can unlock are map upgrades. At the end of a lot of the side quests, especially the hard ones that you can't really do till the end, at the end of each of those, you might pick up a map upgrade. So it'll show you where all the chests, unopened chests are, show you where all the little or priorite shards and Jedi scrolls and things are, or where upgrades are. You can unlock all of those things on your map. Yeah, the boglings are back. If you see one of these little guys, well, A, you can pet him. But B, a lot of times they'll show you a path. So if you're not sure where to go, and you see some of those guys, follow them. They'll show you where to go. See, I got all these markers all over my map of where things are because I have almost all the map upgrades. That's Jedi Survivor. I highly recommend it, having finished it. I'm going to play through again on New Game Plus, and now I'll actually have like combat that's somewhat challenging. I'm still not worth $200, but it sure was handy to have for the L3 and R3. So that's Jedi Survivor. I highly recommend it. I give it like a 9 out of 10. A lot of the reviews have been good, so except again on PC. If you have a PC, you might want to wait. Thanks for stopping by. See you next time. Bye-bye.